So, welcome to this live stream in which me, Judah Elton McNeil. Whoa, what was that? Elton Judah McNeil.
I got an email. Apparently, someone's going live stream. Someone I'm following on YouTube just went live stream, so they let me know.
All right, so thank you for joining us. Huh? Why is that stopping? Anyways, thank you for joining us, and let's. So I'm here with my good friend Joseph Maxwell Rhodes, and we both saw the new movie Logan, and we want to talk about it. So, first impression, like, I was really excited going to see it because it got a lot of great reviews. Did you see any bad reviews?
I pretty much saw every preview that could come out, so I was just that excited for it.
See, I didn't. I tried not to watch any previews.
Okay.
And so I wanted to go in surprised. Of course, I did see a couple of the previews. Well, what were your initial reactions when you saw the reviews? The reviews,
when I read them, the expectation was putting a higher expectation than what I expected, and I knew I would like the movie.
Yeah.
Pretty much what I enjoyed about the movie is my expectation of it. Okay. But I felt like the reviews were higher than what I was expecting, and in the end, what I really got out of it. So the reviews put a higher level, a higher standard of what I thought I was going to get.
Yeah, I went into it thinking this is going to be like the best movie of the year, and it really wasn't, in my estimation. I mean, if you were to give it a grade, what grade would you give it?
Well, I mean, I would definitely give it an A. I definitely would give it an A. I don't think it's going to be the greatest movie of the year, but I think as far as comic book movies and X-Men movies, I think it exceeded that expectation. And it landed in the genre of like a normal, really good movie drama, like a drama action movie. So,
well, I would.
It's like, to me, like The Dark Knight transcend just action and comic book movies and got into a different level, and that's where I felt that Logan was. Okay. They broke out into a different level.
Okay, well, I had a little bit of different of a take on it. I certainly liked it, but I would only give it like a B or B plus. I actually didn't feel like they transcended any kind of model or template. I think they tried, but I came out of it feeling almost the same way I did. Well, that's not true. I felt like they used some of the same approaches that they did for the last Wolverine movie. I feel like the last Wolverine movie, they were trying to make it a little bit more gritty, a little bit more realistic, and had some of the same twists. Now, I want to keep it spoiler free for the first half. So, so I'll give you my overall, spoiler free review was that it was a beautifully shot movie. I loved the music. It was an incredibly emotional movie. Well, for the first two acts, I would say that, the first 2/3 of the movie was deep and emotional, and there was a lot of character development. I thought the acting was, mwah. It was, is what I wanted. It was on par with any other movie, good movie. But I came away with it feeling like they rushed the conclusion. They used a little bit of trickery, cinema trickery to wrap things up, and I thought it was a little lazy in the screenwriting. And there were just a few characters and characterizations that I just really didn't track with. I thought it didn't feel like an X-Men movie, for one thing. Didn't feel even like a comic book movie, which maybe that's good. But I guess my expectations were I was just hoping that they would be able to make it serious and keep it as a comic book in that comic book world. Whereas,
well, I think. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's pretty much it.
I think when people put that review that it's more like a Western, and how and I'm not really spoiling anything, but closer in the beginning where they're watching that Western.
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to remember the name of the movie.
Shane, maybe?
Yes, I don't remember the name of the movie, but basically the premise of that movie, that Western, is the premise of this movie.
Yeah.
Basically, someone hangs up their guns, and then this villain rolls into town, and then they go back to it, and that's basically the premise of the movie. Is Wolverine's trying to, move on and be an average person, and given the nature of Wolverine and his history, people won't let him just move on, and so my unspoiling review is exactly what I wanted when we talked about movies, what we were looking for it. Serious character development. They just focus on the psychology of the real life. What would happen if this is real? If he's getting older, and Xavier, and then the dynamic of the two, where what they're trying to do, their vision in life, and even though Wolverine kind of wants to separate himself, he still cares. Right. He still cares. So ultimately, what I wanted out of the movie, they gave me, and that's my expectation. I didn't like some people. They felt like it emotionally really drew them in, and it did. Yeah. But I mean, there's other movies that I've seen that were tugged on my heartstrings a lot more. But still, it was more of an emotional movie than I thought it would be, and that's why I think it's better than just a normal comic book movie. And so that's my unspoilerly stuff. So
yeah.
Everything else I had to say would be spoiler, would ruin the movie if you haven't seen it.
Right. I think you're frozen there. Let's give it a minute to come back. Come back to us. It's frozen on that. I thought it was still. Well, that'll give us a good point to transition to more spoiler talk. So if you, and it'll be in the description below, at about this point, if you have not seen it, just know that it was a pretty good movie. Joseph loved it. It was his favorite movie of all time, and I thought it was meh.
I'm gonna marry it, so I'm in the process of writing a license.
But if you continue on with us from this point on, we're going to be talking about major plot points and maybe reveals that will ruin the movie if you continue to hear us talk. So spoiler. Fair warning. Spoiler. You say spoiler now.
Spoiler. So, like I was talking earlier, I found this YouTube video where someone went through all the movies, the X-Men movie, and in chronological order put Wolverine and his experience when he was born, and even has the two timelines from where, the original all the way up to A New Tomorrow, or what's the one where he went back in time to change history?
Future Past. Future Past.
What?
Days of Future Past.
So, basically, with Futures Past, it's showing, the timeline. Then he goes back, and it starts an alternate timeline, sort of like they did in Back to the Future, where the Doctor showed a different line.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is at the end, the guy talks about, look, technically, Wolverine only lives 155 years or something like that, but emotionally, he lives like 290 years, and so he goes through life twice, and he's seen all his friends die twice, and so the emotional toll that Wolverine has gone through, when going into this movie, you see, like, look, he's already seen all his friends die the first time, and he went back and he thought he'd saved them all, and now they died all again. So the emotional drain Wolverine has to separate himself from all this world, and yet at the same time Xavier is pulling him back in, and he's trying to he's forcing him to have these intimate relationships, which Wolverine knows they're gonna die. In his mind, he wants to die. He's trying to end it, because that's, to me, the psychological and the emotional pain that Wolverine's going through is really the tragedy of it all.
Yeah, I would say all three. So one of the so the two major twists or spoilers, I guess you could say, are the fact that X-23, they call her Lauren.
Yeah.
Is his daughter, kind of. I mean, using his DNA and some other woman or something. Now in the comic, they just continue with iterations of Weapon X, which is Logan or Wolverine, and they keep trying to make new Weapon X, but they all keep going crazy or destroying themselves until they use they splice some female DNA, and that's how they make X-23. And
then you also have X-24 in the movie where
but that's not part of the comic. So that was the other part.
Yeah, but in reality, this is not a comic anyways, because Old Man Logan and X-23 are separate.
I know.
And they just try to piece together, license what they had.
Yeah.
And I actually liked it. I liked that you're seeing Wolverine facing himself.
I felt that was so.
But in a way, psychologically, he's doing the same thing. He has to come in terms with who he is.
I know, but to me, that's so obvious. I was like, you couldn't pick a more subtle storytelling device than having Wolverine face Wolverine. Like, it just seemed like a tired.
I didn't expect it. I was blown away. I was like, what?
Really? I was like, ah.
That was to me like one of the best parts of it.
Really? That's weird, because that's like that was the worst part for me. I couldn't stand the other Wolverine. First of all, they made him like, I mean, he's a young Wolverine, but him and Old Man Wolverine are still, sort of keeping up with each other, and he didn't seem that scary to me. Did he seem scary to you, the doppelganger Wolverine?
He didn't seem scary. He seemed more unhinged, And remember, Wolverine barely beats him, and in reality, he doesn't beat him. Somebody else stops him.
Yeah.
In the first fight, they do it. He is pretty much almost dead, and then the guy drives a truck into him. And then in the second fight, he's pretty much dead, and the girl shoots him in the head.
Yeah, but in both cases, this old man was like actually keeping up. I guess I didn't have that sense of like dread that a real Wolverine, in his prime would cause you to feel. And I didn't feel any kind of, with bad guys. Typically, I want to feel that this bad guy is unique to the good guy, has a real like you have it like a connection with the bad guy, sort of opposed to your connection with the good guy, with the hero.
Who would you have?
Huh?
I mean, who would you have? I mean, given the license of what they could do,
I would have done Sinister. I definitely would have had Sinister in there.
I don't know if they even have the license to use Sinister yet, and I think
they do.
Their intention is to bring him later, and they're kind of alluding to him because you're seeing that. But even then, I mean, here's the thing: is no one came out alive. The kids did, you know. So even the other Wolverine, and if you think about it, to me that was another layer of tragedy. Is like I kind of wanted to identify with the other Wolverine because I was like, this is like what Wolverine had to go through, and this is basically what Wolverine was used for.
Maybe, but remember that
trying to salvage that and recover from it, and now they're starting a vicious cycle again. So not only is he saving his kids, he's actually trying to save the other Wolverine from, you know, from what, like the line he gives is like, don't be what they make you to be. And he's trying to save himself literally and the other Wolverine.
But I didn't feel that worked at all, since they made him with no emotions. He was basically a robot. And he had no humanity to him. The other, whatever, it was just, it could have been like, as far as I'm concerned, they could have had like a robot version of him, and it would have been better, you know.
Well, I mean, they try to show that, you know, they're kind of controlling him, and at the same time they couldn't control him. You know what I mean? Remember how like he's calling his name and he just won't stop.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I mean,
I just
really,
thought
he was only in a few minutes. I mean, really, the focus was
the
relationship with Xavier and how Xavier, and not only that, but how they alluded to Xavier's the one who killed everyone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And also, what they kind of alluded to too is the corn syrup is what Mr. Sinister was doing, is he was using the food to suppress genetic mutations so that they're the only ones who can control the genetic mutations, so no one naturally was born a mutant. I mean, they have potential to really go further, and I don't know what powers they had, if they could do like 30 years later or 15 years later, where X-22 is older, and other ones are X-Men, and so I mean, there's so much to dig, but ultimately what they were trying to do is give you a good farewell to Wolverine.
Yeah, I guess, but I guess to me it just felt like they had such a great movie up until the point where the other Wolverine comes into it, and then it's just kind of like that. There's no real, like, there's a great story arc where they're running. I mean, it's not a great story arc, actually. It's actually kind of a boring story arc, running from the bad guy. But at least you kind of know, you're kind of working towards like some kind of like, okay, this is too boring, so they're probably going to have some kind of weird twist. And then the weird twist is this like doppelganger Wolverine, and it doesn't really affect the trajectory of the plot. You know, it's just kind of like a bad guy, and they just have to run harder or something. I don't know. And then they get there, and it's just a battle. And I don't know. For me, that was just not a good payoff. I wanted there to be some kind of deeper meaning to them running. You know, like in the story about, you know, running, he saves them, but there's nothing surprising about Old Man Wolverine saving them, and it was just kind of more of the same, you know, fighting and the girl fighting. There was no, like, I don't know, and it just kind of ended on a sour note where everybody dies. So
well, not the kids, you know. I mean, but here's the thing is,
yeah, but who cared about the kids?
I don't know where you're expecting. To me, the whole time I'm like, this is a dead end. He knows that he's really, the more he pushes, the more he knows he's gonna die. And
right. But that's
like,
why it was like it was so what do you call it, telegraphed that it was a dead end. You know, they spelled out the whole time that it would have been a great story to, like, everybody's expecting it to be a dead end, and then somehow there's redemption at the end instead of just these kids who nobody cares about continue on. Like, yay. Did you find them interesting, those kids?
I didn't think the kids of X-22
X-23, yeah.
And that was really all, I mean, as you see, the kids just walk away from the grave, and the girl, she's quoting the movie.
That was good. That was emotional, yeah.
And basically she's, you know, and I was thinking to myself, when's the opportunity that any of these kids are actually meet their their parents, and she has that opportunity. And you saw the little boy holding the Wolverine toy.
Yeah.
That idea of what Wolverine people think he is, that's going to live on. But the reality of what he is, very few people get to see the tragedy that is Wolverine.
Yeah.
But she got to see that, and it's almost like saying, just like he said to her, don't be what they make you to be.
Yeah.
And she gets to see that ending of what that looks like.
Yeah.
At the beginning, and so she actually gets a choice.
But you know, one of the problems for me is like the thing that was killing him though was his adamantium, and it's going to kill her too. You know, she already is what they made her to be. Unless she gets rid of the adamantium.
Is his whole skeleton is antiantium. She only has claws that was put in.
No, I think her skeleton was adamantium too.
No, because the only reason I know, and this is just from the comics, is because she would never grow. She wouldn't be able to grow bigger if her whole bone structure was adamantium. So they just put claws in. So he will probably die from the same thing.
But maybe later.
Yeah, and her healing factor, it's going to keep her alive longer. And I think probably because when the adamantium and the amount was put into Wolverine at such a later point in his life, and if you look at the movie timeline, he's already like 130 by the time they put it in him.
Yeah.
And he's running down. His healing factor is wearing down, and she could still potentially have him taken out.
Yeah, that's true. I just thought that was weird, like if adamantium is like radioactive, or if that's what they're trying to insinuate, that eventually.
Well, I think it might be more of I don't know if I thought it was more of a cancer type of thing.
Yeah, and but it was caused by the adamantium. I think it generates some kind of radioactive, something or something. I don't know.
And so his body can only heal so much, and for years it was able to fight it off. But now it's getting older, it's gradually. But that being said, I mean, all those kind of things were really great. But diverting a little bit to the Deadpool prequel thing.
Oh, man, that was hilarious.
And then I started thinking, the first thing I thought was like, this is like Pixar, how they always have a little movie in front of the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, they could do that with Deadpool with every X-Men movie. He's got this little story, this humorous little story that has nothing to do with the movie at all. And to me, that was hilarious. I was like, this is going to be great. I think, I was watching Emergency Awesome and that YouTube channel, and he talked about a couple of videos ago where the unspoilery review of Logan, he was saying Deadpool owns the X-Men movies now. Yeah. He's like, this is where they want to go. This is what they want to do. And the fact that they showed that, and because the movie was so somber, they couldn't put this at the end.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that would have been terrible. Yeah.
But prefacing it made the whole, made a different feel like that, like Pixar kind of thing, where they have these independent movies that they put in front.
And I think that's genius, like to sort of take a new take on the hidden scene at the end. Maybe you have one at the beginning, you have one at the end, maybe they connect. But do you think that Deadpool's gonna be Wolverine's gonna be in Deadpool?
I think that they might have a cameo where Wolverine is there, or just Hugh Jackman will be in the movie. So either one of the two, either Hugh Jackman will just be in there some random part, or Wolverine will just make like a brief cameo.
Really, I hope they give him a bigger role. I think it'd be, maybe.
I don't think they. I think Hugh Jackman is like. I think the studio wants to eventually recast Wolverine because he's such a great character.
Yeah. And
the more they drag it along with these parts with Hugh Jackman, the more time they're gonna have to give till they can recast it.
Yeah.
So I think that the likelihood is they'll probably just have Hugh Jackman in there with some silly part, and it's gonna kind of play off of him as Wolverine, but not really Wolverine. You know what I mean? And maybe Deadpool gets to kill him or something like that, and it shows like, hey, I'm better than you or something like that, or in the end you're still stupid, or I don't know, or maybe they'll have him where he sews his mouth shut. And, and he looks like the Deadpool from the Wolverine movie. Yeah. But he basically puts him through the same thing and maybe tapes like cardboard cones on him so he looks like a stupid Deadpool from the Wolverine movie or something. I don't know. They could do so much fun stuff where they basically tease him like they made a bad version of the Deadpool in the Wolverine movie. They can make a bad version of the Wolverine in the Deadpool movie. Yeah. I think that they can play around with it, but I don't think that they're going to try to have him be Wolverine. I think they want to try to recast it as soon as possible and get him back in the movies. So that's what I think.
Yeah, we'll see. I thought Hugh Jackman did an incredible. He was incredible. It was an incredible acting performance. What's his name? Patrick Stewart. Never did I think this is Picard. I was thinking this is old Xavier the whole time. Yeah. And even the little girl. Now, what did you think about her talking? In the last third of the movie.
Well, I wish they would have subtitled the Spanish. I was like, what the hell is she saying? You know what I mean? I don't mind that she's speaking Spanish. I just want to know what she's saying. But then I was thinking, well, maybe they wanted you to have the same experience that Logan is. Like, I don't know what the hell she's saying. Yeah. But I actually like that she talked. She's a little sassier than I thought she would be. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like where he was saying, anyone I get close to, they die, and then she's like, well, I guess I'm safe then. Yeah. I was like, oh, sassy. I was like, whoa. You know what I mean? For a little girl, she's already pretty emotionally developed enough to be able to give that kind of response, as opposed to, I would think a girl her age, given her experience, would probably just kind of clam up and just not say anything and just kind of feel hurt and just walk away. Yeah. As opposed to, I guess I'm safe, because that sounds like an adult woman response right there.
Yeah, I agree.